Part 112. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1111. If he had come alone this time, Xiaoming would have definitely captured many zombies and sent them all to the demon realm to serve as cannon fodder instead of the Zerg and Zerg. But now, in the public eye, it would not look good if he had brought so many zombies. As a normal person, what do you want to do with so many zombie subordinates on Pangu Star? After sending them to the demon realm, everyone will be more suspicious. Where are your zombies? Where did they go? Did they hide? Are they plotting something bad? There is no way to explain it. Therefore, Xiaoming put together a dance troupe of 100 zombies for the Dance King zombie, and then he did not make more. It looks good to put it together. The physical attributes of this Dance King zombie are probably upper level 4, not even C level. The mental attributes are only middle level 4. In general, he is probably a C level zombie. The main feature is that his skills are quite strange. Most of the 100 zombies he collected are D level, and there are also a few C level ones. The strength is still very strong when integrated. This is the advantage of quantity. If the dancing zombie had something serious to do, and had led his subordinates to fight more, he would have probably upgraded long ago. By then, he could have a larger team, and he might not be afraid of even the B-level zombies. Unfortunately, his problem was that he was too artistic and not very persistent in upgrading. He only wanted to lead his subordinates to dance. He had been living a leisurely life like this. Now that he is under Xiaoming's command, he has to do some serious work. As the vanguard, they are responsible for clearing the way and destroying zombies when they encounter them. They eat the opponent's rotten flesh and absorb the yin qi emitted by the opponent after death. The team began to become stronger little by little. In fact, the frequency of ordinary zombies eating is very low, and they can barely survive even if they don't eat anything. At the same time, the speed of absorption and digestion is also very slow. However, under Xiaoming's control, they naturally received a certain bonus, and the speed of strengthening was much faster than before. And this team of zombies has another advantage, that is, they will not be besieged by other zombies. If Xiaoming and other humans walk over, the zombies in the cave who smell the smell will swarm over. But when this team of zombies walks over, other zombies will not become hostile for no reason. Unless they feel hungry. Or the time for the secret method set by Mushroom Hall to be activated has come, and the zombies will be very ferocious for a period of time due to the influence of the secret method. But the secret method cannot be activated all the time. A zombie eats other zombies, and the nutrients obtained need to be digested for a long time. Therefore, Mushroom Hall sets that the secret method is basically activated once a year, and occasionally it will be activated actively. This year's secret method activation time has long passed. Therefore, Mushroom Hall can safely ask the League of Legends to handle this matter. Otherwise, when everyone is cleaning up here, the secret method is suddenly activated, and the zombies riot. Even a fool will know that there is a problem. If excessive losses are caused again, it will be difficult for Mushroom Hall to deal with this situation. The thriller dance formation of the Dancing King zombie, combined with the Tiangangbidu skeleton sword formation interspersed in it, feels a bit invincible. First of all, the hostile zombies were surrounded by several of our dancing zombies and could not perform. Then the skeleton sword formation rushed forward, taking advantage of the enemy's inability to resist and dodge, and quickly killed it. Leaving the corpse for the dancing zombies to share, they lowered their heads and crouched into the dance formation to find bad luck with other enemies. As for the little bit of yin energy that the zombies enjoyed, the skeleton soldiers controlled by Xiaoming personally would not care. They just looked down on this little bit of yin energy. They usually live in Guangmingding, and the outside is connected to the underworld, where the yin energy is extremely rich. Xiaoming was too lazy to create the breath of death himself. The battle went very smoothly. After a few hours, the Li family and the Dou family felt fortunate. Because as the army went deeper, the hostile zombies began to become stronger. D-level zombies began to appear in large numbers, and occasionally C-level zombies would pop out to scare people. If it were their team, although they could cope with it, the consumption would be huge. If they were not careful, they would lose manpower. Although, they were mentally prepared when they came. After all, they were training soldiers, and it was inevitable that there would be some small losses occasionally. But it was better not to lose. There are other opportunities for training. The previous battle of a few hours was already good. The subordinates performed well. Now they have seen a big scene again, which makes them know that there are people who are better than the sky, and they will not be proud and complacent in the future. It's good. Those who are interested will broaden their horizons and learn a lot of useful experience and technology from watching the battle. This is a very rare opportunity. These people will naturally have a better foundation than others for their future development, and they can be trained with emphasis. Li Hong, Doji, and others all felt that the trip was worthwhile. Dou Kunfang and Zhao Yun were shocked by Zhang Xiaoming's performance. They were both sent by the family to get close to Xiaoming. When they went on a mission together, why didn't they see that Zhang Xiaoming was so powerful? Maybe the enemy was different. They actually knew more information than Li Hong and Doji, the two temporary workers. They all heard about Xiaoming's use of undead magic to show his power at the Qingkai base of Nuwa Star. At that time, they thought it was a fairy tale and not very credible. They guessed that Xiaoming probably used some advanced props. I finally understood after seeing it with my own eyes today. It is true that hearing about it is worse than seeing it in person. This undead magic is really amazing. Especially in a specific terrain like a cave. Because of the narrow terrain, there is almost no large-scale army collision here. So Xiaoming only needs to recruit 100 zombies. After a few hours, he has eliminated zombies several times his own number. This is impossible in an open area. The Dance King zombies dancers did not suffer any losses. Only one was lost, and Xiaoming could recruit another one to make up for it. It was basically a lossless battle. The only consumption was probably Xiaoming's mental power. However, looking at Xiaoming, it seems that he did not consume much. In their opinion, it was not Xiaoming who controlled hundreds of zombies alone, but Xiaoming who controlled the Dance King zombie. Then the Dance King zombie controlled the dancers. This saved a lot of mental power consumption. In fact, these zombies have been exposed to Xiaoming's mental power, so they naturally submitted to Xiaoming. The Dance King only managed them on their behalf. All the consumption was paid by Xiaoming. It's just that Xiaoming's mental power is now close to level 7. This level of consumption is not as fast as automatic recovery. The real big spenders of mental energy are the skeleton swordsmen. Using them to set up the Tiangangbaidu formation requires very fine control. It consumes a lot of energy. The Tiangangbaidu formation is too famous. Everyone knows it, has heard of it, and can guess it now. But no one understands the difficulty. After all, using a 4th level skeleton swordsman to set up the Tiangangbaidu formation is something that I have never seen before. There is no reference, so there is no way to judge. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhenshen. Chapter 1112. Shua, 7 swords stabbed out at the same time, and the sound of breaking the wind was only heard once. Zhao Yun and the other 4 were restrained by the sword tip and dared not move. Li Hong laughed and applauded, "Good, dead dog. Mr. Zhang's sword formation is really wonderful." Zhao Yun, you retreat. Dead dog, is the homonym of awesome in Japanese. Li Hong said it casually, but others didn't like it. However, Zhao Yun and the other 4 people in Datang still put away their weapons obediently, bowed to Xiaoming, and then withdrew from the Tiangangbaidu skeleton sword formation. Zhao Yun was naughty and saluted these skeleton soldiers. Xiao Ming didn't know whether he should control the skeleton soldiers to return the salute. After a slight surprise, Zhao Yun had already retreated. This was just a few warriors of the Li family and Xiao Ming's Tiangang Baidu formation. About a meal time ago. Everyone was a little tired from marching. For such a long battle, it is best to combine work and rest. So everyone found an open area, sat down to rest, and took out the food they had prepared. After half a day of fighting, they had become close friends after fighting together, and they were not as unfamiliar as before. They chatted casually and made some jokes. Li Hong and Doji went to find Cherry Captain and talked about the cherry bomb business. Others gathered around Xiao Ming to discuss the interesting things about the dancing zombie. As for the Tiangang Baidu skeleton sword formation, most people just watched it for fun, and they didn't study it. Only a few of the younger generations of the Li family, that is, Datang Zhaoyun and others, were martial artists and were very interested in this formation. The Tiangang Baidu formation was originally a gift from the Li family to Xiao Ming. Naturally, there were people in the Li family who practiced it, but not many people practiced it. After all, most of the people under the Li family were reincarnators, and they could get a stronger path from the reincarnation space, so this formation was nothing big. It was not worth too much effort. Especially the formation required 7 people to run in for a long time. It was difficult to ensure that 7 people upgraded together. Some of them suddenly had a chance to be promoted. Should we stop them? Only those with more suitable talents will practice formations. Zhao Yun and others from the Tang dynasty are still somewhat interested in formations. Although they can't learn it, they can always learn from it. So Zhao Yun took the lead, and was defeated in 3 or 5 moves. The others joined in, each holding a weapon, and the 4 of them fought in the Big Dipper formation. In terms of strength, the 7 skeleton soldiers who set up the formation are all 4th-level skeleton swordsmen carefully selected by Xiao Ming. Zhao Yun and the other 4 are also 4th-level warriors. Their combat effectiveness is no less than that of the 5 wonders of the Central Plains. Xiao Ming himself had to practice the Changsheng Ju for 15 years before he could catch up. Why can a few skeleton soldiers and a few young warriors catch up with the 5 wonders of the Central Plains so easily? It's very simple, with the help of the reincarnation space. Although Zhao Yun and others practice martial arts, they are not completely without the products of the reincarnation space. Just some genetic medicine, natural treasures, etc., can improve their physical fitness. Hong Qigong, Huang Yaoshi, and others are not so lucky. Xiao Ming's skeleton soldiers are not to be mentioned. They are cultivated by advanced undead magic. The physical properties are absolutely awesome. Of course, in terms of experience and talent in fighting against enemies, they are not as good as Dongxie 11 Du and others. If they fight one-on-one, they will definitely lose. This competition is also an improvement for Xiao Ming. He controls 7 skeleton swordsmen at the same time, setting up the formation while fighting the enemy. The microcontrol ability is greatly enhanced. At the same time, he also realized some special uses of the Tiangang Baidu formation. For example, the large formation is like a spoon, and also like the letter S, forming 2 natural grooves. Xiao Ming controls the skeleton soldiers to intersperse back and forth, and can even exchange the star positions. Just swap them casually, and the 4 warriors are separated. 2 Li family warriors are trapped in each groove on both sides. Each side forms a siege. Zhao Yun and the other 4 don't often cooperate, and they are completely messed up when they fight. They are easily subdued by the sword formation. Xiao Ming had only considered using the Tiangang Baidu formation to encircle one person before. He had never really thought about the situation of 7 versus n. This result was not unexpected at all. On the surface, it was 7 4th level against 3 4th level. The Baidu formation had already won. In fact, it was Xiao Ming, who was 6th level, against 3 4th level. How could he lose? Xiao Ming was said to be 6th level because he used a combat power suppression device to suppress his strength to B level. Others were not sure what level he was. This was an entertaining competition. Zhao Yun and others and Xiao Ming all gained a lot. Other spectators also benefited. After the fight, everyone was still chatting with great interest. Suddenly, Xiao Ming's eyes flashed, but it was gone in a flash, and he didn't say anything. After a while, Cherry Helmsman, Li Hong, and Doji were all shocked. They looked at each other, nodded, and didn't say anything. A few minutes later, something strange happened. 4 sea-level zombies jumped out of several caves above their heads and pounced down from a high place. Xiao Ming, Cherry, Doji, and Li Hong each got one. Not bad, the zombies can actually tell which human is a master. The 4 of them had noticed these zombies approaching secretly before, but they did not remind their subordinates at the same time. Xiao Ming did not want to be too conspicuous. The other 3 were for the purpose of training the team's ability to respond. Anyway, they were always on guard and would not let their subordinates suffer. Who knew that these zombies had high IQs and knew the principle of capturing the leader first? Instead, the 4 of them were attacked suddenly. There was no training effect at all. Li Hong raised his wand and shouted, "Expecto Patronum!" It was the magic Expecto Patronum from the Harry Potter world. A guardian spirit in the form of a tiger appeared, threw the zombie away, and rolled together. It was hard to tell who was better. A Catwoman appeared out of thin air next to Duzzy and wrestled with the zombie. Later, Xiao Ming learned that this Catwoman was the Onmyoji's Shikigami, 9 lives cat. The combat power was not particularly strong, but it was not easy to fight. Because after the 9 lives cat met certain conditions, it could be resurrected after death. After resurrection, if the conditions were met again, it could be resurrected after death. The cycle was very powerful. If she was lucky, she could keep dealing with the enemy until the enemy was worn out. The zombie that pounced on Xiao Ming, somehow, deviated in direction and fell into the Tiangangbaidu formation, and was besieged by the sword formation. It was Xiao Ming's small universe that showed its power. Silently controlling this sea-level zombie, it fell into the sword formation. The zombie that rushed towards Cherry Captain was the most unlucky. He was hit by several cherry bombs and was blown away. Somehow, he also fell into the Tiangangbaidu formation and had to deal with the heavy sword light at the same time as his partner. Cherry Captain really knows how to use the force. Xiao Ming is still unsatisfied and is thinking about the Baidu formation. It would be great to have a few people to practice with. This time, he finally has a decent opponent. Under the control of consciousness, the 7 skeleton swordsmen drew sword shadows one after another, and circled the 2 zombies in the 2 grooves of the formation. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1113. It took only a few seconds from the sudden appearance of 4 sea-level zombies and the sneak attack to the easy resolution by several team leaders. It took the others almost half a minute to react. Among them, the warriors such as Datang Zhaoyun reacted the fastest. Seeing this, these subordinates secretly glanced at their own leaders, but they didn't get any good looks. They rushed to help and join the battle against the zombies to show their presence. The 4 warriors of the Li family launched a siege on the zombie with the cover of the guardian spirit. Sea-level zombies are not something that a single D-level warrior can contend with, especially the corpse poison of these zombies, which is highly toxic and it is troublesome to be infected. Fortunately, they all have weapons in their hands, which can keep a distance from the battle and don't have to worry too much about the corpse poison. Although the zombies are fierce, Li Hong released the guardian spirit tiger, which is also an extremely agile soldier. and with the spirit of not fearing sacrifice, it can completely entangle the zombies. The four warriors each held a sword and a gun, and when they saw the opportunity, they attacked. It didn't take long to kill the zombie. Li Hong took out a bead from the space equipment and used it to absorb the yin qi leaked out after the sea-level zombie died. It seems that it can be used. I haven't done this before, probably because I don't like those D-level zombies. After all, the yin qi is not condensed enough, and it can only be used when it reaches sea level. It is also very simple for the Do family to work together to deal with sea-level zombies. The characteristics of the Shikigami 9-life cat allow her to completely entangle the zombies. Do Kunfang and the other two Do family subordinates are long-range, and they can attack from a distance. Corpse poison? What is that? Do Kunfang can use the barrier technique, and the barrier she made cannot delay the sea-level zombie for too long. The zombie can break it with 1-2 seconds of force. But this is enough. Watch the moment when the zombie attacks the Shikigami and make a cubic barrier. Specially stuck in the key part, making the zombie very uncomfortable. For example, if a zombie opens its mouth to bite, if a barrier is placed between its teeth, the zombie has good teeth and can be crushed in one bite, so it is not very useful. But change your thinking, if you use a barrier to trap its jaw joint. It will make it unable to exert strength for a while, and the effect will be different. Do Kunfang's reaction to the enemy is still very good. Every time he releases the barrier, he can find the important joints of the zombie, such as the jaw, ankles, elbows, and make it scream in anger. This operation is simple to say, but in fact, it requires a very high accuracy of the barrier master. Ordinary barrier masters may not be able to do it. The two ninjas know many kinds of weapons. They have always used long weapons or hidden weapons such as darts. At this time, they feel that their skills are not good enough and it is easy to hurt the 9-life cat in the melee. So they changed their fighting style. They each took out a chain and specifically greeted the zombie in 3 directions, or to be more precise, entangled its legs. The 9-life cat usually flies high and rarely stays on the ground for a long time, so it is not easy to be injured by mistake. Once it is entangled, it will be pulled hard. Make it unable to move and just take the beating. If the zombie is too strong, then give up the chain and let the zombie move with the chain on its feet. When the opponent is not paying attention, grab the chain and continue to pull. Anyway, the zombie cannot move. If it is a human opponent, this will be useless. Humans will always remember to shake it off quickly. But the zombies are stupid and can't think of this at all. The Do family has one less person than the Li family, and the delay time is slightly longer. It was still done without any danger. Dozi also took out the same beads to absorb the yin qi. Xiaoming couldn't help but sigh that everyone's values seemed to be similar. On the Tiangangbidu skeleton sword formation, although Cherry Helmsman threw the zombie rushing towards him into the sword formation, Mushroom Hall did not ignore it. His 3 subordinates also came to help. And they cooperated quite well with the sword formation. They used 2 nut walls to trap the 2 sea-level zombies in the grooves of the sword formation, blocking the zombies' escape route. Then use the timid mushroom to hide behind the nut wall and spray the zombies. The timid mushroom is average in power, but the nut wall is very important and has played a big role. One of the zombies was clumsy and had to defend against the nut wall. Mushroom Hall saw that the time was almost right and threw out 2 pumpkins to launch a fatal attack on this zombie. The other zombie was a little more flexible, which means that the points were more agile and the health bar was not particularly long. So he would rather be attacked by several swords on his back and climbed up the nut wall. He was about to jump away. He didn't want to be stabbed in the legs and feet by 2 swords, so he fell from the other side and hit a potato mine and was killed. As a result, both heads were taken by Mushroom Hall. Of course, this little thing would not cause any disputes between the 2 families. 2 + 1 makes 5. One zombie was taken away by Mushroom Hall. The other zombie, the skeleton swordsman, picked it up in front of the Dance King zombie and gave him a meal. A sudden sneak attack, such a perfect solution, everyone is very happy. Li Hong and others had to take the opportunity to teach several subordinates a lesson, to stay alert at all times on the battlefield. At least they should take turns to be on guard. If the 4 C-level zombies did not attack the 4 leaders this time, but attacked the D-level subordinates, there might be more casualties. This battle is very dangerous. In fact, several leaders had already discovered the enemy and had been on guard, so it was not so easy to die. But they would not say this at this time. In this regard, Xiaoming understood it more deeply. In fact, there is another crisis in this battle. Why did the 4 C-level zombies act together? That's because there is a guy behind them who is responsible for the connection. This guy is not a zombie, but a high-level ghost. His predecessor was a disciple from the Mushroom Hall who volunteered to come to the zombie cave and was also a reincarnation. Because of a little adventure before, he learned a trick of soul possession. He thought of trying his luck in the zombie cave. He can attach his soul to zombies with strong bodies but defective spirits. With the advantage of having reason, he thinks he can be the final winner. The actual situation is not much different from what he thought. Not only did he become stronger, but he also mastered some special skills because he could enter and exit the reincarnation space. His combat power has reached the upper level of sea level. The 4 zombies just now were all zombies that he had possessed for a long time. Although he can't completely control these 4 zombies now, it is still easy to coordinate them to move together. He discovered Xiaoming and his group very early. With his intelligence, he naturally knew that he should stay away. As long as he uses his familiarity with the terrain and circles around the League of Legends, they won't be able to find him. Unless Xiaoming takes action, it's impossible to fill the entire cave. There won't be the ghost. After the League of Legends thinks they have won, he can hide for a while and sneak out. By then, the sea is wide enough for fish to leap and the sky is high enough for birds to fly. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1114. People die for money, birds die for food. If people are greedy, they will easily kill themselves. The same is true for ghosts. This disciple of Mushroom Hall has become a ghost cultivator. Just practice honestly and don't cause trouble. As a reincarnation, the future is still very promising. Who knew that he couldn't suppress his greed? Seeing that the Dance King zombie could control hundreds of dancing zombies, he was immediately excited. He calculated in his mind that if he could possess the Dance King zombie, wouldn't these 100 zombie subordinates be his own? Then who should we be afraid of in this cave? So he made a plan to use his 4 zombies to attack and distract the attention of this group of humans. Then he suddenly possessed the Dance King zombie. As long as we take control of the Dance King zombie and command the group of zombies under his command, it will be enough to drive these humans away. At most, we can be gentle and prevent them from dying. He has been in this cave for decades. He is confident that he is more familiar with zombies than most people. He should be able to snatch it. Xiaoming had actually discovered him a long time ago, but considering that he was a ghost cultivator and a reincarnator, he had no intention of doing anything to him. Never expected that this guy would use the soul possession skill on the Dance King zombie. If it was the Dance King who was entertaining himself at the beginning, he would probably be controlled by him. But now the Dance King zombie is under the control of Xiaoming, and he needs to fight with Xiaoming for it. A ghost cultivator actually clashed with the ghost messenger in the soul field. Isn't he a sheep walking into a tiger's mouth and falling into a trap? With his cultivation, how could he withstand such a close contact with the power of the underworld? He struggled only twice before he was taken by the soul gem. I don't know where he will be reincarnated in the next life. This process was too fast, and Li Hong and others didn't notice it at all. Even Xiao Ming was slow to realize it. When Xiao Ming realized what the ghost cultivator he just discovered had done, the guy had already entered the underworld. It also added a little merit to Xiao Ming. Helpless, Xiao Ming could only sigh, "There is a road to heaven but you don't take it, there is no door to hell but you break in. No zo no die why you try?" After resting, everyone followed the Dance King zombie group to advance a little further. Some people gradually began to yawn. It was hard to tell what the sky was like in the cave, but everyone brought a watch. When they looked at the time, it turned out to be past midnight. It was already 1:13 on September 15th. Everyone was too excited about the battle during this period. After discussing it, they decided to take a break. So they found an open place to camp. The other three families set up tents in the shape of a finished product. Xiao Ming was lazy, so he simply asked Zhang Hong to transform into an armed bulletproof car. He drove out of Guangmingding and got into the car to rest. He thought it would be less conspicuous. Unexpectedly, he still attracted everyone's attention. It was a great space equipment to be able to accommodate such a large car. Li Hong and his team also had space equipment, but it was far less large. How could they not pay attention? Xiao Ming didn't care either. Hiding in the car was mainly to let Zhang Hong guard for him. He didn't need to sleep, he just wanted to change his mood. Yin Xiaoming pretended to sleep, but his soul actually went to the underworld and temporarily replaced Hong Xiaoming's soul. Somewhere in Nuwa Star, a Protoss sky carrier buried underground. A Protoss opened his eyes from the medical cabin. It was Hong Xiaoming's Protoss body. There were several Protoss corpses in other medical cabins, but now they are gone. Where did they go? They all became new Protoss embryos. The situation is like this. Hong Xiaoming built the Protoss base in Kunlun. Large groups of light spirits also live here. After Xiaoming built the main control center, he will be able to produce Protoss embryos. When the embryos grow up, they will naturally become Protoss soldiers. If necessary, this process can be accelerated. To make embryos, Protoss genes are needed, and those corpses are suitable for extracting DNA. Therefore, it is still useful for the light spirits to collect energy to maintain these corpses for 1.5 million years. Otherwise, they would have turned into ashes long ago, and there would be no DNA to extract. In the theoretical technology system of Pangu Star, DNA cannot be preserved for too long. Not to mention 1.5 million years. However, as a super powerful cosmic race, it is understandable that the Protoss is technically extraordinary. Let's just take it as such. Anyway, it is impossible for souls like Xiaoming to come and take over the bodies of the Protoss. Xiaoming simply melted those bodies. Transformed into hundreds of Protoss embryos. Cultivating so many embryos requires a lot of energy. We don't lack this stuff. Xiaoming placed a lot of hacker energy blocks in the spacecraft. The expansion of the Protoss is just around the corner. You know, Xiaoming has built a lot of Protoss buildings, but because there are not so many people to manage them. So far, they have not played any role. Moreover, the Protoss recognition technology is advanced enough. Xiaoming wanted to use his shadow clone to make up for it, but the spaceship didn't recognize him at all. He was so angry. In the past 10 days, Red Xiaoming could only come a few times intermittently, so the spaceship has not been completely repaired yet. He took out his magic wand and continued to walk around the spaceship, using the repair technique. Try to get the job done tonight. At the same time, a large number of light spirits gathered on the surface of Nuwa Star sensed Xiaoming's arrival, drilled into the ground from the surface, and continued to move into Kunlun. At about 4 a.m. or 5 a.m., the sky carrier was finally repaired. Unfortunately, there were not enough people to drive it. If there was not enough space in Kunlun, Xiaoming would have stuffed the spaceship in. At this moment, the circle Xiaoming released was triggered. Someone is coming, just 1,000 meters away. If the Protoss had eyebrows, Xiaoming's eyebrows would have been frowned at this time. What's going on? This is Nuwa Star, could it be? A closer look shows that it is not. Just as Xiaoming guessed, the people who came were the new Han soldiers from Xiaopei base, led by Lieutenant General Miao Cheng. Yesterday, I received a message from Lieutenant General Miao Cheng, saying that the base was going to send people out for exploration. I think the base's defense is not enough, so I want to find someone to help guard it. Xiaoming is not interested in things like housekeeping, so he didn't go. It seems that the people from Xiaopei base are still out for exploration. It's just that the Protoss spacecraft is still quite far away from Xiaopei base. Normal exploration should not come here. How did they come straight here? After taking a look at the light spirits around him, Xiaoming suddenly realized. The light spirits on the entire surface of the planet are gathering towards him. Even if only 1% of them show up, it is enough to attract these humans. In fact, it is not just humans, some curious animals and insects will also follow the light spirits. But they generally don't want to run too far, chasing for a while, playing enough, and then forgetting. Only humans will keep following. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1115. Xiaoming clapped his hands and regretted it. This matter was entirely due to his own inconsideration. Before coming here, I just wanted to take advantage of this gap to let Hong Xiaoming, a Protoss, come out for some fresh air and repair the Protoss spaceship. At that time, I didn't think about sending people out to explore at Xiaopei base. I clearly received the message from Miao Cheng, so I should have remembered it. Xiaoming was negligent. Not long ago, Xiaoming had just attracted a large number of light spirits at Xiaopei base. At this time, it was still fresh in my memory. Seeing this scene, there was no reason not to come to explore. If Miao Cheng and others stayed inside the base, they might not see many light spirits passing through. Moreover, even if there were light spirits that appeared and passed by Xiaopei base, since they were not fully prepared to go out, Miao Cheng might not lead people to chase them out. But now that they have come out to explore, the area covered is so large that it is difficult to miss them. Since they have seen it, it is impossible not to track it down. Now, if things go wrong, the Protoss mothership will be exposed to the eyes of humans, which will be troublesome. How could the new Han Space Army not be interested in seeing the sky carrier of the alien Protoss? The new Han was able to lead the entire Pangu star in technology, relying on finding an alien spaceship. With such a good example, how could humans not be excited when seeing a spaceship with a completely different style and full of high technology? What should I do if an army is raised to fight for it? Would I conflict with my motherland for such a thing? However, it seems inappropriate to ask Xiaoming to hand over the sky carrier. After all, 1/4 of himself is also a descendant of the Protoss, and he is the highest commander among the existing Protoss, one person. It would be embarrassing to hand over the only spaceship of the Protoss without saying a word. And Xiaoming is also a little worried. If he performs so poorly, will the inheritance of the Protoss give up on his own initiative? Anyway, there are many embryos, and it is not impossible to find a decent commander. Xiaoming doesn't want to do it, but there are many people who want to do it. I thought of what my master Ha once told me, that many high-level treasures have their own personalities, and they will stay if they are suitable, and go if they are not. It doesn't mean that you can rest easy after you get it. The inheritance of the Protoss may also have this characteristic. Considering the strength of the three alien races, it is definitely possible to divide the infinite gem/Fuxi-Qin. Xiaoming didn't dare to take risks. Military law says, if you can fight, fight, if you can't fight, defend, if you can't defend, run. If you can't even run away, then there is only surrender and death. Hong Xiaoming doesn't want to fight now, it's not convenient to defend, and of course he can't surrender and die, so the best strategy is to run away. And he can't leave Quafu Star, that would be too obvious, and the meaning of covering up is too strong. Xiaoming directly opened the aperture and appeared 1,000 meters away, so most of the light spirits turned slightly in a different direction, and a few turned around. After the light spirits walked for a while, Xiaoming moved again, and the light spirits turned slightly again. After doing this over and over again, Hong Xiaoming's current location is already quite far from the burial site of the Protoss spacecraft. Lieutenant General Miaoqing and his group could not see the distribution of light spirits on the entire planet, but just followed a few light spirits, so they did not suspect anything. They continued to rush to Hong Xiaoming's location. Hong Xiaoming led them farther and farther, and at the same time, he had to make other preparations. Huang Xiaoming temporarily withdrew from the secret realm of the Legend of the Condor heroes and rushed to enter the Protoss domain to learn a few skills of the Protoss to bluff people. Xiaoming actually knows a few skills of the Protoss, but the feedback skill is used to hurt people and is not suitable for use on humans. Illusion can be used, but it has no power and lacks recognition. Fusion skill cannot be used now. So he can only cram at the last minute and try to learn a few tricks now. In a hurry, the Protoss domain is still very powerful. Huang Xiaoming quickly found two very good skills. With his powerful mental power, he learned the skills quickly after finding them. So, Huang Xiaoming went back to continue playing games, while Hong Xiaoming controlled his Protoss body and stood on the top of a cliff, pretending to practice. Not long after, Miaoqing and others drove several long or short magnetic flying cars and stopped under the cliff. Looking up at this strange race, the Protoss looked like aliens. Miaoqing and others had seen many alien creatures on Quafu Star, but this was the first time they had seen aliens. They didn't look like locals. Looking at countless light spirits quickly throwing themselves into the arms of this alien, Lieutenant General Miaoqing didn't know what to say for a while. The language was not communicated, and the other party probably wouldn't understand it if he said it. It just so happened that Xiaoming didn't want to play a long drama with them. The main reason was that he felt that it would be easy to fail if he played too much. The Protoss raised his right hand slightly and released a skill to the humans under the cliff. Stasis field, static force field, also known as freezing. There is also a freezing spell in Taoism. But the two are very different. The freezing spell in Taoism is a small-scale spiritual power spell, targeting only one person or one thing. The static force field is a large-scale mental power skill, which directly freezes the space containing a large target. It cannot move, attack, or be hurt. Such an ability can best show the power of the gods, and it can also express goodwill. It does not hurt people. Until Lieutenant General Miaoqing, all humans and vehicles were frozen on the spot. They were completely unable to move. These people were shocked. Apart from anything else, Miaoqing had the strength of a B-level reincarnationist. Who could freeze him with just a wave of his hand? Then, Hong Xiaoming launched another skill, spiritual storm, at a pile of rocks. It can use mental power to trigger a surge of energy in a large area. It causes huge damage to all targets within the range. A dazzling light flashed, and a mess was left on the spot. The rocks were blown into rubble, and the sand was crushed into powder. It even appeared in a vitrified state. This is one of the killers of the Protoss. The skilled Protoss can control the attack range and lethality at will. Xiaoming was learning and using it for the first time. The force he exerted was a bit too much. After releasing the two skills, Xiaoming did not stay any longer. He glanced at the people below the mountain, grinned, and his figure completely disappeared in full view of everyone, leaving behind a bunch of stunned humans, and the light spirits that gradually disappeared after they could not find their target. Where did Red Xiaoming go? Of course, he hid in his private world to avoid the limelight. If he continued to stay on Quafu Star, the light spirits would have to chase him, which was inconvenient. Besides, Xiaoming had previously spread many shadow clones all over Quafu Star, and this time he had spread many parasites. He could return at any time. Unfortunately, just 10 days after Xiaoming became the heir of the Protoss, the reborn Protoss had been exposed. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1116. The appearance of extremely powerful aliens on Quafu Star will surely cause a great uproar among the high-ranking officials of the new Han state. This news cannot be concealed from the families of the 12 kings of Dakan. If they know, it is estimated that the top forces of Pangu Star will know it soon. The fluctuation caused by this incident is bound to be not small. I am afraid that it will be even greater than the turmoil caused by the return of Warriors of the Dawn. Xiaoming no longer dares to evaluate it. Even if he alarms S-level masters and uses the advanced means of the reincarnation space to investigate, it is possible. Fortunately, the reincarnation space is considered to be one of ours, and the identity of the Golden VIP is not a joke. What's more, there is also the identity of the ghost messenger of the underworld. It is unlikely that he will be found out. Alas, it is estimated that it will cause a lot of trouble to many people, which is a bit unbearable. But Xiaoming can't do anything about this kind of thing. For precaution, Xiaoming opened a wormhole and sent the Protoss sky carrier buried under Quafu Star to the world of Yu Hakusho, where his own insect race was in the demon realm. He was unlikely to be found, but it was definitely not safe for the spaceship to stay on Quafu Star. It was better to put it in the private world for peace of mind. Besides, the space in Kunlun was limited and there was no room for more Protoss buildings. Xiaoming had to find a place to build a Protoss base. Then he could only go to the demon realm. After all this, the time was almost up. Red Xiaoming's soul entered the soul gem and replaced Silver Xiaoming to continue to destroy the zombie cave. Mushroom Hall was very generous and could cultivate a level or even higher zombies. The space of this cave was also quite large. It was not something that could be done by more than a dozen people in 3 or 5 days to destroy this place. Xiaoming and his group came in mainly to explore the way and make a forward station. Those who could be destroyed would be destroyed first. If they couldn't handle it, they would evacuate quickly and replace them with a stronger combination. Yin Xiaoming has to play with these people for at least a few days. During this period, the main game cannot be taken care of. I hope those intelligent programs will not cause trouble. There is nothing new in the next few days in the zombie cave. Let's switch our attention to Huang Xiaoming. At noon on September 15th, the main plot of The Legend of the Condor Heroes seems to be about to start. By the way, from the time when Nancy Ren, played by Huang Xiaoming, moved into Luya's Wang to now, only 4 or 5 days have passed in real time. Almost more than a month has passed in the game. About half a month ago, the tendons of Lu Chenfeng's legs had been connected by Nancy Ren, and now they are well maintained. It is not realistic to say that he can walk freely and briskly immediately. However, the physiological obstacles have been eliminated. As long as Lu Changfeng practices diligently, it is not difficult to practice his kung fu back to the past, let alone walk normally. Xiaoming does not need to input the true qi of Chang Shengju for him every day. Just practice a little bit of qi every now and then and consolidate it. It's probably okay if you don't lose, at most you will recover more slowly. Seeing that the medical skills of the beggar gang elder Nanziren are effective, Lu Changfeng and Lu Guining worship him as a living god. If Nanziren hadn't insisted on not accepting it, this Gyun manor would be his now. However, under Lu Changfeng's insistence, Lu Guining worshipped Nanziren as his master. He became the junior brother of Guo Jing and Mu Nianzi, and the senior brother of Zhang Ning'er. Zhang Ning'er is young and the daughter of Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying. She will always be the youngest among the brothers. Unless one of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan accepts a younger apprentice in the future. The Lu family father and son swore on their conscience that the purpose of becoming a disciple was not to take over Nan Ziren's unique skills, but to have Lu Guining honor Nan Ziren as a disciple. Of course, if Nan Ziren thought Lu Guining was a talent and was willing to teach him his unique skills, they would not refuse. Xiaoming liked Lu Guining's character very much. Although he did not pass on the secret of longevity to him, he taught him the dragon elephant Prajna Kung. This is also a magical skill, more suitable for people who are not particularly talented. As for how far he can practice, it depends on his own luck. In ancient times, the relationship between master and apprentice was very close, basically like that of father and son. In modern terms, apprentices have the right to inherit the master's estate. Xiaoming can still refuse the Lu family's thank you gift to Nan Ziren. But Xiaoming can't refuse Lu Guining's filial piety to his master. Apart from other things, the antique calligraphy and paintings, gold and silver jewelry he gave to Nan Ziren in the name of filial piety filled 1 or 2 rooms. There are all kinds of daily necessities. In the secret realm of the legend of the Condor heroes, Xiaoming could not use any other supernatural energy except martial arts, so he was not particularly comfortable. In the past, his whole body was covered with various energies, and he was not stained with dust at all. Now, even though the internal force is flowing throughout the body, it is still impossible to achieve a spotless state. Xiaoming is willing to serve Lu Guining to make him feel more comfortable. In addition, it doesn't matter if he is a little frugal, but Mu Nianzi can't be treated badly. As the saying goes, raise a son in poverty and a daughter in wealth. Dressing Mu Nianzi up beautifully will also be pleasing to Xiaoming. For the Jin Yuan Bao plan, the father and son of the Lu family support it 100%. The Tehu bandits under Lu Guining have all kowtowed to Nan Ziren, and now they are almost Nan Ziren's private army. In the evening of this day, Lu Guining came to Nan Ziren's room to pay his respects. Xiaoming was practicing the Changsheng Ju with Mu Nianzi, and when he saw him coming, he stopped. Disciple greets master, junior brother greets senior sister. Lu Guining always kowtows to Nan Ziren, and never changes no matter what he says. He is always polite. Xiaoming is really not used to a young man kowtows to him, and his brows frowned again. Seeing that master looked bitter again, Mu Nianzi once again played the role of stepping stone. Junior brother, you too, come here at this time, but what's the matter? Reporting to master and senior sister, my subordinate brother John came to report that the envoy of the Kingdom of Jin is scheduled to cross Tehu Lake tonight, and Commander Duan will arrive in more than an hour. This time, he plundered the people's wealth in the name of welcoming the envoy of the Kingdom of Jin, and obtained more than 20 boxes of property. I think. Hearing this, Xiaoming was shocked and knew that the plot was coming. Yang can't escape this time, right? Mu Nianzi only knew that this junior brother was a robber on Tehu Lake, so she teased him, I know, junior brother, you want to rob the thieves, right? Lu Guining's handsome face turned red, and he argued, senior sister, that's not called robbing the thieves, that's called rob the rich to help the poor. Asterisk 2, the last few words, the two said in unison. They laughed out loud together. Xiaoming saw that they had a good relationship with each other, and he couldn't help but smile. Mu Nianzi was lonely since childhood, and she suffered a lot when she followed Yang Taixin to perform in the rivers and lakes. So when she grew up, she was introverted and rarely laughed with others. Xiaoming, as a master, felt that this child was so sensible that it was a bit pitiful. Never expected that because of a little junior brother, she would be less restrained. Xiaoming was very pleased, secretly thinking that Lu Guining's apprentice was not accepted in vain. Magic Planet online game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1117. According to the original plot, the envoy of the Jin kingdom is Yang Kong, the adopted son of Wanyan Hongli. Nanziren did not see him when he made a scene in the Zhao Palace, but he should be able to meet him this time. The commander Duan who escorted Yang Kong was no one else, but Duan Tian, the enemy of the Guo and Yang families. Of course, he could not let him get away. Although Wanyan Hongli is now under the command of Nanziren, Yang Kong should not do anything bad this time. However, since the plot has come to this point, he still has to be caught. After all, he is the prince of the Jin kingdom, and he has such a great public resentment. Commander Duan. There is no way. If Duan Tian had not been robbing people and merchants everywhere in the name of the Jin kingdom these days, there would not be such a big commotion. If there was no money on the boat, the Tehu pirates might not be interested in robbing. What's the purpose? Because he is old, because he doesn't take a bath? Yang Kong can't explain to others what the gold ingot plan is. Even if he said it, no one would believe it. So Nanziren took Mu Nianzi and boarded Lu Guinying's boat together. On the one hand, it was to hold back and not to harm Yang Kang's life, on the other hand, it was also to prevent the Tehu pirates from losing too many people at the hands of Yang Kong. As for whether Mu Nianzi and Yang Kong would fall in love with each other after meeting each other, Xiao Ming felt that the possibility was 50-50. After all, Mu Nianzi was no longer the low-class Jianghu artist. As a disciple of Nanziren, one of the four elders of the beggar gang, her status in the Jianghu was naturally different. More importantly, Mu Nianzi's martial arts were no longer what they used to be, and Yang Kong should not be her opponent now. In this way, the little prince's attraction to the girl might be reduced, and only the handsome face was left. Xiao Ming had no way to deal with this matter. If Mu Nianzi was a face party, Xiao Ming could not control it. Even if he tried his best to prevent Mu Nianzi from seeing Yang Kong, it was estimated that the game system would not agree. She would see him anyway. It is a blessing, not a disaster, and it is a disaster that cannot be avoided. Xiao Ming decided to face it. The officers and soldiers of the Song dynasty were relatively weak, so Xiao Ming was not worried. Their ships would naturally be attacked by other bandits. Nanziren and Mu Nianzi boarded the ship of the village chief He and attacked the large ship of the Jin kingdom's envoy first. Xiao Ming knew that the bandits in Tehu Lake, including Lu Guinying, were no match for Yang Kong. Although Lu Guinying had learned the dragon elephant Prajna Kung, Xiao Ming also gave him some pointers on the outer martial arts. They all learned and applied some of the martial arts concepts taught by Hong Qigong. But after all, the time was short and there was not much progress. After a few years, Xiao Ming would not have to go out in person. The only thing Xiao Ming found strange was why Guojing and Huangrong had not appeared yet. Didn't they come to watch the fun in the original book? Guojing always respected his teacher and would come to greet him when he saw him. He hadn't appeared yet, and he didn't feel that they were peeping nearby. Could it be that something had gone wrong? Forget it, I couldn't guess how the system arranged it. Forget about it, let's finish this battle first. The boat that Nanziren was on approached the Jin ship in the night. The Jin soldiers were stronger than the officers and soldiers of the southern Song dynasty. Especially those responsible for protecting Yang Kong, they were Wanyan Hongli's personal soldiers. There were still some tricks. They used bronze mirrors to reflect the light of torches, like searchlights, to scan the lake. Although the light was still very weak, people could always be seen. So more than a dozen people drew their bows and shot arrows at Nanziren's boat. How could Xiao Ming take these arrows seriously? In order to show off in front of his subordinates, Xiao Ming stood tall, without dodging or evading, and flicked the stones with his fingers, and shot down the arrows one by one. The bandits led by Hizezu behind him were all very impressed. Our big brother is really powerful. Seeing the two ships approaching, Xiao Ming exerted force on his feet and jumped onto the Jin ship. Several stones flew out, and several Jin soldiers who were thrusting their spears were knocked to the ground. "How dare you, thief! I will take care of you." A handsome young man thrust his spear at Nan Ziren. This man must be Yang Kang. However, before the spear was thrust out, an attendant behind Yang Kang immediately grabbed Yang Kang's collar and whispered a few words in his ear. Yang Kang looked suspicious and asked, "Are you Senior Nan?" Xiao Ming nodded, and shot another stone, which actually broke the flagpole of the Jin Kingdom's flag, which was as thick as a bowl. Yang Kang had no doubts at the moment. He had heard from his father and the guards in the palace that Nan Ziren was unmatched in the world in throwing stones to hit people. Several masters in the palace were subdued by him. This stone was as fast as a meteor and as fast as lightning. If it hit me, at least half of my life would be lost. It must be me. Yang Kang was afraid that Nan Ziren didn't recognize him, so he took 2 steps forward, knelt on the ground, and whispered, "Senior Nan, we are one. My father is the king of Zhao of the great Jin kingdom." Xiao Ming also whispered, "Quickly surrender, I will guarantee that you will be safe." But he secretly praised in his heart, "This Yang Kang is really smart. It would be good if he could learn well." When he Zaizu and others climbed onto the big ship with the hook, the scene they saw was that all the guards and followers of the Jin kingdom, from the little prince down, knelt on the ground. The bandits were stunned. Nan Ziren said loudly, "Since you surrender, we won't make things difficult for you. Come on, tie them up, blindfold them, and take them back to the manor. There is no need to tie up this little prince of the golden dog, and he dare not play tricks if left alone. Come with me, I want to interrogate him personally." "Yes," Hizezu agreed loudly and quickly ordered his men to tie up the people. Yang Kang escaped a disaster and quickly followed Nan Ziren with his head lowered and eyes lowered. He really didn't dare to leave without permission. However, he finally let go of the worry he had raised. His eyes moved and noticed Mu Nianzi, who had just boarded the ship. Mu Nianzi has been practicing the Changsheng Ju for a year, and Xiao Ming always led her to run the True Qi in person, and she made rapid progress. With a strong True Qi, people also become energetic and their eyes are bright. The appearance of 7 or 8 points has also been upgraded to 10 points. Besides, Mu Nianzi was not bad to begin with. When Yang Kang saw Mu Nianzi's face, he was immediately attracted by her, whether out of lust or because of the system. When he saw the gleam in Mu Nianzi's eyes sweeping over him, he couldn't help but feel ashamed. He didn't let this beauty see his most handsome side, but instead let the scene of his distress be seen. Alas, God is not good. At the same time, he was also wondering what the relationship between this beauty and the famous Nan Ziren was, and why they behaved so intimately. Even if I had a few more courage, I would not dare to provoke Nan Ziren's concubine. After hearing the woman's words, he was relieved. "Master, why don't you wait for me? I don't even have a chance to do it. Let me kill a few golden dogs to vent my anger." Hearing the word golden dog, Yang Kang's face dimmed again. For the first time in his life, he found that his identity as a prince of the Jin kingdom was actually a demerit. In just a short while, the little prince's heart was like a roller coaster, up and down several times. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1118. In addition to Yang Kang, Duan Tian must also be taken with him, as his life is estimated to be over. The Tehu pirates took a large group of captives and returned to their water fort. Only Yang Kang, Duan Tian and other important figures need to be taken to Giun Manor for detention. When the boat was halfway, they saw the Lu family servants driving a small boat to report the news. It was said that the owner of the manor, Lu Changfeng, had a big banquet in the manor to entertain several distinguished guests. The so-called distinguished guests were none other than 4 of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan, Ke Zhenyi, Zhu Kong, Han Baozhu, and Quan Jinfa. In addition, Luya Manor happened to invite the leader of the Iron Palm Gang, Iron Palm Water Drifter, Chukinran, the old senior. There was also Guojing, the disciple of the Seven Freaks, and Huangrong, Guojing's little friend. Those people in the original novel have almost arrived. Originally, Gyun Manor captured Yangkong, and Mu Nianzi helped Yangkong to send a message to Mei Chaofeng for help. Mei Chaofeng sent a token, and Lu Yizhuang was in a state of panic. The servants in the manor saw the seven freaks of Jiangnan and mistakenly thought they were the enemies of the owner, so they brought the seven freaks of Jiangnan into the manor. Chukinran was invited because he was thought to be able to deal with the Black Wind twins, so he was invited as well. But they didn't know that they invited a fake. Now that the prelude has not happened, how did this banquet start? It turned out that Lu Changfeng was grateful to Nan Ziren for curing his legs. He also looked up to the seven freaks of Jiangnan. His son also worshipped Nan Ziren as his master, so they were a family. Therefore, he ordered everyone in Lu Yizhuang to receive and serve the other members of the seven freaks of Jiangnan attentively if they saw them. It would be best if they could invite them to Lu Yizhuang as guests. Nan Ziren now lives in the manor, and I believe the seven freaks will not refuse. The seven freaks of Jiangnan have been away from the Central Plains for 18 years, and the world has almost forgotten them. It was not until Nan Ziren became the elder of the Beggars sect and rose to prominence that some of their prestige was restored. However, most people in the martial arts world did not remember the appearance of the seven freaks of Jiangnan. It was only after the Lu family father and son asked Nan Ziren about it that they finally figured it out. In fact, the characteristics of the seven freaks of Jiangnan are very obvious. It is difficult to recognize them separately, but it is not difficult to recognize them when they are together. The people of Lu Yizhuang found them very quickly and invited them to the manor. They arrived just tonight. In fact, it was late at night, and it was not impossible for the seven freaks to find an inn to rest halfway. However, Cajun Wu and others had not seen the fourth brother for 2 years, and they couldn't help missing him. They resolutely refused to stay in the hotel and rushed over overnight. Guojing and Huangrong also met Lu Changfeng on the lake according to the development of the plot. Huangrong and Lu Changfeng had similar interests and talked about poetry, songs, music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, which was very speculative. After the names were announced, Lu Changfeng realized that it was a coincidence that it was Guojing, a disciple of the seven monsters, and his girlfriend Huangrong. He quickly told them that Nan Ziren was at Lu Yizhuang and invited them to the manor. However, the system played tricks and made them stay outside for a while. When Lu Changfeng brought Guo and Huang back to Gianzhuang, Nan Ziren had already set off with Lu Guinying. It turned out that Guo and Huang met with Cajun Wu and other masters first. Unfortunately, only 4 monsters came this time. Zhang Ashan and Han Xiaoying, with Zhang Ning'er, accompanied Li Ping to find a place to live in seclusion. It's different with a child. Zhang and Han seemed to have lost interest in the fighting and killing in the rivers and lakes. Originally, the third brother Han Baoja should have gone with him. But with the temperament of the Horse King, how could he bear the life of seclusion? Anyway, he would never do it, and followed his eldest brother Cajun Wu, the second brother Zhu Kong, and the sixth brother Quan Jinfa, and the 4 monsters to venture into the rivers and lakes together. During the time they entered the Central Plains, the 7 monsters had heard about Nan Ziren's recent success. The 4th brother had become one of the 4 elders of the Beggars Gang, the largest gang in the Jianghu, which made the other brothers proud. In fact, the 6 monsters had always been worried about Nan Ziren, because before that, the brothers had surpassed the 4th brother in internal strength. Now that the 4th brother was alone in the Jianghu, it would be a lie to say that they were not worried. Recently, I heard that the 4th brother, Hong Kigong, and Chukinran had visited several docks. During this period, he showed his power and defeated many masters and celebrities with peanuts. He was called Peanut Elder in the Jianghu. It seems that his martial arts should be great. As long as you have good kung fu, you dare not be too presumptuous in the Jianghu. The nicknames that Xiao Ming had thought of before, such as waiter and waiter, did not appear. Nanziren was his master, and the other 6 monsters were his uncles. Upon hearing the news, Lu Guining quickly ordered to speed up the boat and return to Yunzhuang as soon as possible. The bandits under his command were not very good at martial arts, but their ability to sail on the water was absolutely first-rate. After receiving the order, the boat flew back to Luyezhuang like an arrow from a bow. He ordered the servants to take Yangkong and Duantian to settle down, and Nanziren led his apprentices Mu Nianzi and Lu Guining to rush to the banquet venue. When they were near the venue, they heard the voice of an old man. During the Huashan sword contest that year, I happened to have important family matters and could not attend the meeting, so the title of the world's #1 martial artist was given to this old Taoist priest. After hearing this, Xiao Ming knew it. It must be Qiu Qinren's fake brother Qiu Jianzhang who was talking nonsense. He immediately said loudly, "This senior is so arrogant that he doesn't even take my beggar gang's old leader Hong seriously. I, the beggar gang elder Nanziren, would like to learn a thing or two from him." Usually, when someone likes to brag, it is not a big deal, and Xiao Ming doesn't care. When I didn't have much ability back then, I also liked to brag a little, just for my own amusement. But at this time, it was about the reputation of the leader of the beggars section. Someone challenged him and claimed to be the best in the world, and did not take the 5 great masters of the Central Plains who fought on Mount Huashan seriously. If Xiao Ming, the elder of the beggars sect, did not stand up, he would not be able to mix in the martial arts world in the future. He had to fight even if he could not win. Of course, Xiao Ming dared to speak out because he knew that he could win. Otherwise, when he should follow his heart, he would definitely follow his heart decisively. Fourth brother. Fourth brother. Fourth master. Elder Nan. Everyone at the banquet saw Nanziren stepping in, and each stood up to greet him. They were all full of joy and stood up to greet him. Even Lu Changfeng stood up with a cane. Only Qiu Jianzhang knew that something bad had happened. It was bad. He was so busy talking that he forgot that Nanziren would be here at any time. But my brother had reminded me a long time ago that Nanziren and Hong Qigong were really powerful in martial arts, and even my brother was not sure of winning. If you meet in the martial arts world, you must behave properly and never cause trouble. Otherwise, even Qiu Qinren couldn't handle it. Qiu Jianzhang didn't know that Qiu Qinren's statement that he had no confidence in winning was just a flattery. To be honest, Qiu Qinren didn't think he was a match. Because Hong Qigong and Nanziren, whom he had seen, had practiced the Changsheng Ju for a long time, and their skills had improved a little. Compared with the other 5 masters, the gap was not obvious, but for Qiu Qinren, the gap was a bit big. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1119. Thinking of his younger brother Qiu Qinren's words, Qiu Jianzhang already felt guilty. When he saw Nanziren, who was tall and imposing, he was even more nervous. Qiu Jianzhang pretended to be his younger brother, so he was not afraid of anything. But he was afraid of those top masters. That is, those whose martial arts were not inferior to his younger brother. When masters of equal strength meet, they often exchanged their skills, which could not be faked. In the past, he was always able to avoid meeting these masters, but he didn't expect to be so unlucky this time. He actually met Nanziren, and it happened when he was bragging. If he had known this, he should not have come to Luyezhuang. Qiu Jianzhang and Qiu Qinren are twin brothers. They look exactly the same, but their skills are very different. The younger brother Qiu Qinren is a master of the generation second only to the 5 wonders of the Central Plains, while the older brother Qiu Jianzhang is a second-rate person who cheats everywhere under the name of his younger brother. He has no pursuit in his life, he just loves to show off in front of others. Today, he saw martial artists frequently appearing near Luyezhuang, so he wanted to take the opportunity to show off his power. In the original novel, he had another mission in Jiangnan, which was to build momentum for the Jin kingdom after being recruited by Wanyan Hongli. In this life, Wanyan Hongli could no longer do such tricks against the southern Song dynasty. The Iron Palm gang was not recruited by the Zhao Palace and remained neutral. In fact, due to the personal visit of Hong Kigong and Nan Ziren, the relationship between the Iron Palm gang and the Beggar gang became much closer. It was slightly biased towards the right path. In the previous banquet, Qiu Jianzhang did not mention the surrender to the Jin kingdom, but just boasted, so everyone did not dislike him particularly. Only when he said that he was not afraid of the 5 great masters of the Central Plains, Huangrong felt dissatisfied when she saw that he looked down on her father. If Nan Ziren had not spoken first, she would have made a few ridicules. In the original novel, Huangrong and the 7 freaks of Jiangnan did not get along well when they first met. Mainly because her father Huang Yaoshi was the master of the Black Wind twins. There was hatred between the two sides. But in this life, without the plot of Prince Zhao's mansion, the relationship between Huangrong and Mei Chaofeng was not exposed. Besides, in the desert, the 7 freaks fought against the Black Wind twins. They killed Chen Xianfeng and blinded Mei Chaofeng. In fact, the revenge has been taken. If Mei Chaofeng was in good health, the 7 freaks of Jiangnan would naturally be more vigilant and ready to deal with Mei Chaofeng's sneak attacks at any time. Now she has become blind and most of her martial arts have been wasted, and these people have made great progress in their skills. In fact, several people have let Mei Chaofeng go in their hearts. Little Huangrong is smart and clever, and wandering away from home alone is pitiful. She is really loved by everyone and flowers bloom when she sees them. Guojing did not have a so-called engagement at this time, and Ke Jinwu and others were also happy to see that this stupid apprentice could find a girlfriend on his own. There is another important change in the mood of the 4 monsters, that is, in the past 10 years, they have eaten too much dog food from their 5th brother Zhang Ashen and 7th sister Han Xiaoying. In addition, teasing little Zhang Ning softened their hearts a lot for the little girl. Even the eldest brother Ke Jinwu, who has the worst temper, is not particularly annoying. Huangrong is younger than Guojing and only 3 years older than Zhang Ning. Seeing her, the 4 of them all thought of Zhang Ning at the same time, so how could they have a bad face? Receiving such care from brother Jing's masters, Huangrong is now grateful and angry with her father. Look at how good brother Jing's masters are, they are so kind to herself. Unlike her own father, who has such a bad temper. Little did they know that the 7 monsters treated her kindly, but it was just love for her. Only Huang Yaoshi had the most selfless fatherly love for her. It was a pity that she was still young and didn't understand these. The 7 monsters of Jiangnan met, and there were still several apprentices to introduce, which took most of the day. Zhu Kong and others were also secretly amazed. Guojing and Nan Ziren in the past are actually very similar. Both are taciturn and very determined. These 2 taciturn guys ventured into the world alone, and everyone thought they would hit a wall. Unexpectedly, they both did well. Not only did Guojing bring back a girlfriend, but Nan Ziren also recruited 2 excellent disciples. Moreover, these 2 people actually got the true teachings of the famous northern beggar Hong Kigong, and both learned the 18 dragon subduing palms, which was amazing. Nan Ziren hadn't met his brothers for too long, and when everyone started chatting, they didn't care about many things. When the few people finished talking, they looked again, and Qiu Jianzhang was no longer here. Lu Chengfeng smiled and explained that Senior Qiu felt unwell and had just left. This guy slipped away quickly. His lightness skills were really good. Xiaoming had of course discovered it a long time ago, but he just didn't say it on purpose. It would be bad for anyone to point it out. If we really beat this guy up, it would not look good in Chukinran's eyes. It would be best if he slipped away. Everyone sat down again, and Nanziran explained the situation of Chukinran and Chu Jianzhang, the twin brothers, and everyone suddenly realized it. Xiaoming said this mainly to Guojing and Huangrong, so that they would not be careless in the future. When facing Chukinran, it would be too late to regret if you treat your opponent as Chu Jianzhang. In the original novel, Huangrong was seriously injured by Chukinran because she underestimated the enemy, so she went to Dali to seek help from Master Yideng, the Southern Emperor. In this life, Xiaoming still plans to avoid this from happening. It is unbearable to let a little girl get so badly injured. The Southern Emperor still needs to be seen, and he will take Guojing and Huangrong there when he has time. There is no need to go to heal the wound. During the dinner, Lu Guining talked about the master's grand event of capturing the little prince of the kingdom of Jin tonight. Xiaoming then thought that it was time to do this. So he ordered his servants to bring Yangkang and Duan Tian over. Everyone was surprised to see that the prince of the kingdom of Jin was not tied up. Suddenly, Xiaoming heard the sound of leaves around him, and he quietly glanced at it from the corner of his eye and saw Mei Chaofeng hiding in the tree. Because she heard Yangkang being taken out, her body swayed slightly, and she made a slight sound. She thought it was late at night, and with the cover of the branches and leaves of the trees, it should not be easy for others to find her. But she didn't know that Xiaoming had been waiting for her to arrive. With full concentration, he noticed the slightest movement. Of course, Xiaoming was not on guard against her, but on guard against the East Evil Huang Yaoshi who came with her. That was a difficult character to deal with. At this moment, he must be observing nearby. However, Xiaoming could only find Mei Chaofeng at most, and it was impossible to find where Huang Yaoshi was hiding. He pondered for a moment, stood up and said loudly, "Master Lu, big brother, second brother, are you willing to listen to my story about an old story 18 years ago?" These people naturally would not say no, so they had to listen to Xiaoming's heroic deeds of Yang Taixin and Guo Xiaotian. And the story of how they were framed by villains and their families were destroyed. Xiaoming deliberately exaggerated the righteous image of Guo and Yang. Although Huang Yaoshi was evil, he was not bad at being upright. Huang Yaoshi would still look up to loyal people like Guo and Yang. Magic Planet Online Game. Author, Lanzai Cai Shi Zhen Shen. Chapter 1120. How did Mei Chaofeng come in this life? In fact, he came earlier than Xiaoming. Mei Chaofeng had been hiding in the big ship where Yangkang was. At the beginning, Xiaoming searched twice in Zhao Wangfu but couldn't find her. Yangkang had already run to Mei Chaofeng, and the two escaped together. Since then, Yangkang was worried that he would be in danger, so he always brought this female master with him. Mei Chaofeng was very powerful in martial arts, and no one except Yangkang could detect her existence. Even later, Wanyan Hungli sent a message to his son and informed him of the subsequent development of the matter. Yangkang was still very timid, so the master continued to follow. The plot of Zhao Wangfu did not happen, so Wang Ke did not know about the appearance of Mei Chaofeng. Naturally, the plot of Wang Ke using the snake formation to besiege Mei Chaofeng in order to obtain the 9-yin manual did not happen. When the Tehu pirates attacked the fleet, it happened to be late at night, and Mei Chaofeng went out to practice martial arts and missed this battle. Needless to say, this was of course a system arrangement. When she came back, she knew what happened. She quickly caught 2 minions to lead the way and came to Luyazhuang. According to her temper, she should send someone to report the news first, and then go to rescue people. She can't lose the prestige of the Black Wind twins. Unexpectedly, she met 4 of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan as soon as she arrived near the manor. After Mei Chaofeng became blind, her hearing became very sensitive. It can be said that she never forgets what she hears. When she heard the voices of Cajun Liu, Zhu Kong, and others, she knew who they were. Back then, the couple could not defeat the 6 of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan together. Now she is alone, how can she be the opponent of the 4 monsters? Although she wanted to avenge her husband, she would not take the initiative to kill herself. Now she has the 9 Yin manual in her hand, and it is just a matter of time before she can practice peerless martial arts. There is no need to rush to do it. Moreover, now that 4 of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan have appeared, she no longer thinks about coming to rescue her apprentice openly. Let's talk about it later. Although she dare not fight, she will not turn around and run away. Mei Chaofeng hid in the tree and eavesdropped. The key was to find out when the Jiangnan 7 freaks would leave. If they didn't leave, he wouldn't dare to enter Giun Manor. Also tonight, Mei Chaofeng was discovered by Huang Yaoshi while she was practicing. Dong Xie didn't immediately subdue his apprentice, but just quietly followed her to see what was going on. In fact, Huang Yaoshi was a little hesitant. Mei Chaofeng was his apprentice after all, and it would be a lie to say that he didn't like these apprentices back then. However, Chen Xianfeng and Mei Chaofeng secretly got married, stole half of the 9 Yin manual and ran away. Indirectly killed Huang Yaoshi's wife. This hatred was very deep. Huang Yaoshi thought that when he saw Chen and Mei, he would definitely kill them on the spot to comfort his wife's spirit in heaven. But today, seeing that Mei Chaofeng's eyes were already useless, the master's heart softened again. For a moment, he couldn't bear to do it. He followed all the way here. As a result, there was a surprise. Although Huang Yaoshi was far away, he could see very clearly that Lu Chenfeng's leg was really almost healed. The new elder of the beggars sect, Nan Ziren, was so skilled in medicine that Lu Chenfeng's condition had exceeded Huang Yaoshi's expectations. He had worked hard to come up with a set of internal skills, just to make his disciples walk again. This was an unexpected surprise. You know, Huang Yaoshi came to find his daughter Huang Rong, and it was basic to get information from many sources. Of course, he heard about the news that Nan Ziren, the 4th of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan, became the new elder of the beggars section, but since it was none of his business, he didn't care. Recently, Huang Yaoshi came all the way to Luyezhuang. On the one hand, he wanted to give Lu Changfeng the internal skills to treat his leg injury. On the other hand, he also wanted Lu Changfeng to help him find other disciples to teach him internal skills and to help him find his daughter. Soon, he heard about Nan Ziren treating Lu Changfeng's leg injury. The servants of the Lu family spread the story like a miracle, so Huang Yaoshi certainly didn't believe it. He had spent a lot of effort to create that unique internal skill, but it didn't work so well. Who was Nan Ziren? Could he do it? Don't make things worse and delay the disciples' legs. The 7 freaks of Jiangnan were not in the eyes of the East evil. The elder of the beggars sect was only a little bit stronger. Huang Yaoshi didn't believe it at all. He rushed to Luyezhuang overnight to see what was going on. If Nan Ziren was a Mongolian doctor, he had to stop him immediately. He had finally come up with this mental method, which could help his disciples. If Nan Ziren messed it up, it would be bad. Huang Yaoshi didn't expect to meet Mei Chaofeng on the way. Hearing that she was also coming to Luyezhuang, he simply followed her. When they arrived outside Luyezhuang, the master and the disciple each climbed a tree to listen to the wall. Huang Yaoshi was very relieved to see Lu Changfeng. His legs are indeed much better. If he combines his inner strength with his inner strength, within 2 or 3 years, Lu Changfeng's legs will be restored to their original state. At that time, Huang Yaoshi thought that it seemed that Nan Ziren was indeed a superb doctor. He must ask him to heal his other disciples. If he agreed, he would be able to choose from all kinds of unique skills on Peach Blossom Island, and Dong Xie would not hesitate. If he was ignorant and dared to refuse, it was impossible to say that the old beggar's face would not work. Even if he forced him with a knife, he would let him be the doctor. Meeting Mei Chaofeng and being able to avenge his wife was the first joy. The legs of the other disciples are expected to recover, which is the second joy. Dong Xia never thought that there would be a third joy tonight. At the banquet, the daughter he was looking for actually appeared. Who said that good things don't come in groups? Huang Laoxia was overjoyed at this moment, but he became arrogant the next second. If it were other parents, they would immediately rush over to hug their daughter who ran away from home and cry bitterly. But Huang Yaoshi was different. Before he found his daughter, he was anxious as hell. He wished he could use one day as 2 days. It would be even better if he could clone himself. However, after seeing his daughter, his anxious mood was put down, but he couldn't help feeling uneasy. He was a little afraid to go to see his daughter right away. He was afraid that his daughter would not forgive him, and he was also worried that if the conflict was not resolved, his daughter would run away again and it would be difficult to find her. The mood of worrying about gains and losses made this top master very entangled. Seeing that 4 of the 7 freaks of Jiangnan were very good to his daughter, Huang Yaoshi didn't know what he felt. Seeing his daughter being so close to a silly boy, the old father-in-law began to feel jealous. He was even more entangled. So Huang Yaoshi and Mei Chaofeng, the master and disciple, sat on the tree and listened to Nanziran's story for half an hour. Mei Chaofeng was dismissive of matters of national justice. Huang Yaoshi, because of his complicated mood, actually listened with one ear and let it out with the other. Although he roughly understood what was going on, he didn't think about it carefully at all. Xiaoming's pretense was at least half-wasted.